Study Session 9, Middle Phase or Working Section in Social Casework 2. Introduction. There are basic issues that must be addressed while interviewing a client or clients. As we have discussed in Lecture 8 of this course, implementation deals with carrying out the intervention plan after initial engagement, assessment, and planning. This is the actual doing in social work. This involves a process of monitoring progress, revising as necessary, and completing the established plan. The basic outcome of an implementation is in the use of thoughtful and planned efforts to bring about specific change. B4, et al., 2000. Objectives. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to explain the middle phase in casework practice and all activities involved in it. Pretest. List activities involved in middle phase of social casework. 2. What are the significance of these activities to social work practice? Content. The main activities of social workers are geared towards solving or preventing problems and to assist the clients in achieving social betterment. Social casework believes that the philosophy behind social work practice involves the concept and principles about how the world should, or actually does, function. This philosophy provides values and guidelines for what is considered important in the intervention process. It emphasizes the aspects of a problem situation and the helping process that should be the focus of attention. The focus is on fixing the individual. In the case of child abuse, intervention or treatment will be directed at the abuser. A philosophy based on family systems, on the other hand, would emphasize the importance of the entire family's interaction with each other and the environment. This would guide intervention to involve all family members. One major warning is that whatever intervention the social worker intends to apply should not interfere with the family dynamics and ongoing activity any more than is absolutely necessary. The family should be helped to improve its functioning on a day-to-day basis together. Whenever there is difficulty in the approach, review alternatives for helping the family until you find some that work. Levine and Saul, 2000. Respect is shown for each family's strength, potential, natural striving toward growth, and capacity for change. Therefore, each family is individualized in social work practice, and its unique strengths and capacities are identified and emphasized in the change process. Data gathering and assessment. In the course of your interview with the client for a sole purpose of helping, the social worker must act these processes. 1. Attending behavior. The social worker must have an eye contact with the client. Sometimes the social worker leans forward towards the client as if he or she wants to hear the client better. Doing this would encourage the client to speak up. 2. Minimal encouragements. The social worker should occasionally nod or say yes, so, I see, to encourage and draw the client out. 3. Reflecting. Reflecting is repeating what the client has said as a stimulus to continue. The social worker may also use reflecting to confirm statements coming from clients. 4. Paraphrasing. The paraphrase invites the client's feedback for confirmation or correction. The social worker therefore paraphrases for this purpose. 5. Silence. The judicious and appropriate use of silence encourages the interviewee to share and to give him or her the opportunity to do so. Questioning in the middle phase. There are special questions and approaches required in the middle phase. Some of the questions generally posed to the clients may be open-ended questions, closed-ended questions, and probe questions. Examples of open-ended questions are what, when, how, or who. What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? Who caused it or who were involved? Examples of closed-ended questions are, did you do it? Will you say it? Should you allow him or her? Can you encourage him or her? Are you going? Closed-ended questions usually require one-word answers such yes, no, never, of course. Probe questions are a series of related questions designed to explain in greater detail in a narrowly defined content area. Examples of probe questions are, what did the doctor tell you about the result of the test? How did you feel about the result? The professional social worker must understand these procedures fully. Further steps after questioning by the social worker. The social worker must clarify, confront, interpret, inform, suggest, and advise the client as appropriate. A. Clarification. The social worker helps the client to get a more specific and objective perception of his or her problem. This is necessary to be able to move forward. B. Confrontation. The social worker calls the client's attention to discrepancies between what he or she says and associated nonverbal behavior, between verbalized plans and subsequent actions, between expressed values and conduct. C. Interpretation. Whereas confrontation deals with data that need explanation, interpretation offers possible suggestions for the interviewee's consideration. The worker analyzes the information the client has shared, reframes the data in terms of related theory, professional experience, and general knowledge about the client's problem, and then formulates a hypothesis about the situation that might suggest another way of approaching it. The social worker may offer a tentative interpretation such as, I wonder if, could it be that, giving the client the freedom to accept, reject, or modify the interpretation. D. Information, suggestion, and advice. Providing necessary information to clients in doses they can manage and language they can understand and absorb helps the clients to deal with the situation. Suggestions do not imply social workers' preferred approach, but merely raise a possibility for the client to consider. Finally, the social worker must always remember to leave every client with a positive mark, positive position about the client's problems and needs. Leave the client with good, positive memory at the end of every contact. Study session summary. Implementation in the middle phase is part of the elaborate intervention plan for the client and client's problems and needs. The expected outcome of an implementation is in the use of thoughtful and planned efforts to bring about specific change. In the middle phase of social casework intervention process, the family is individualized and treated thus. In other words, the principle of individualization is observed very seriously in the middle phase of treatment. Steps in middle phase include data gathering and assessment where the social worker exhibits attending behavior where he makes an eye contact with the client, minimal encouragements to the clients, reflecting, which is repeating what the client has said to serve as a stimulus, paraphrasing, which serves as feedback to the client, and silence to encourage the client to share his or her information with the social worker. Basic questions frequently used in the middle phase of casework are open-ended questions such as what, when, how, and who. Close-ended questions include, did you do it? Will you say it? This requires usually a work response like yes, no. Furthermore, probe questions are such like, how did you feel about the result? What did the doctor tell you about the result of the test? Middle phase in social casework is an important process in social work practice, and it is an area that exposes the social workers in clinical practice. End of study session 9. Thank you for listening.